Good morning. I'm calling this session of the Board of Revision to order. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are Treaty 1 territory, the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. Our panel is composed of Lynn Nesbitt, directly to my left, Brett McIntyre, farthest to my left. My name is Harvey Diamond. The City of Winnipeg Assessment Board is represented by Marina Tenaruawa, and our administrative assistant is Michelle Neppin. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rules in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision have been requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that the applicants or the assessor may make at this hearing must be sworn testimony, and all persons speaking must be either sworn in or affirm that they'll tell the truth. Be advised that comparative assessments of properties are not considered as evidence by our board. Our board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. We make our decisions based on the evidence that we hear. And we provide written orders that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that our decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or if the Court of Queen's attention the matter pertains to an application for exemption from taxation. Should a party wish to appeal, the information on how to do so will be included with our order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matter to be addressed to each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by the questions that they may have, following which the applicant may provide his evidence and be asked questions. Each side will be given an opportunity to summarize the wish to do so. Once all the evidence upon an application is brought forward, the applicant may leave. The person will brief for each matter on the agenda today, and after all the matters have been dealt with, we will deliver it in private, and you receive our written order registered mail as soon as possible. The information today is being recorded and live streamed to form part of a public record. You can swear in the parties, thank you.
Do you affirm or swear in? Affirm. Can you state your full name, please?
Morina Gantika Tenora.
Do you affirm that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Do you swear in or affirm?
Swear.
Sorry. Can you state your full name, please?
David Nishi-Beckingham?
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give at this hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I so swear.
Okay. Good morning. The first matter will deal with 720 St. James Street. Ms. Tenaruawa, you can proceed when you're ready to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I will hand out my recommendation. I'm making a recommendation.
There should be, okay. There we go.
Thank you.
I guess we can start by asking the applicant if this recommendation is one that he's prepared to accept.
No.
No, okay. Proceed then, please.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Property roll number 075690767700. Property address 720 St. James Street. Property owner Alloway Investments Limited. This is 2020 roll year, and property originally valued for $25,674,000. This is the property retail warehouse used by Canadian Tire Store, built in the period of 2001 to 2017. Property land area is 275,327. The plan area for the property 101,344. Property has a gross floor area of 24,974, which includes the main floor area of 98,115 and the mezzanine floor area and the gas bar. This property currently valued as $21,136,000. No municipal board appeals pending on this property. This has a storage mezzanine area of 20,300 square feet, which is not assessed as a leasable area. Page number 2. I don't consider the sales history because it's a dollar sale. Then rent comparables. I use the rent comparables within the city of Winnipeg, and also the same kind of retail warehouses and different areas, but in the same amenity, all of them. And the rental rate for this property, rent comparables this property for $14.46 for $12 is vary. Those are the, if I be clear, the first property is a retail warehouse, and it has the similar square footage on this property. Second comparable, it is the similar type of warehouse, it has a similar type of leasable area. And fourth is not the comparable actually, fourth is the subject property. It is accidentally put as a comparable, but it is not a comparable, it's a subject property. Subject property lease for $17.50. And the third one is a Mac Phillips. It is the Canadian Tire store, and used as a $12 per square feet rent. And the third one also, it is smaller, but $14 per square feet. Third one is not the retail warehouse, it's a similar type of square footage, it's a food and grocery type store. But it's a little bit smaller. But those are my comparables. And page number 3, you will see the Google views. There's a Canadian Tire store and the gas bar is there. Page number 4, those are the pictures for the Canadian Tire store. I was inspected this property for a certificate of agreement for municipal board 2 years ago, fully inspected with the agent. So page number 4 and 6, those are the original valuation, but I am focusing on new page I submit today. That's my recommendation. The main recommendation, the gas kiosk, it's a very minor adjustment to the additional building value. That's actually, I would say, it's a depreciation table recalculation adjustment. It's a very minor, the additional building value, but the gas kiosk value stays the same. My main recommendation is the rental rate reduced to $15.80. The reduction based on the certificate of agreement we signed in 2014, not the 15 one, certificate of agreement at the municipal board level. It is attached here. The rate was, at that time we negotiated to $15.77, which is model driven. Today $15.80 also model driven rents for this property. We understand this property has a higher lease for $17.50 per dollar current lease in this property, but looking at the market evidence, and which is fair to go with little bit lower rent on this property based on the model driven, $15.80. Very last 2 pages is the municipal board attachment. That property negotiate municipal board level for 2014 base year. This is 2018 base year. So rental rate stay within the level, $15.80 for the model, and we use the vacancy rate of 4% and the shortfall of $6 per square feet, and 2% for management and other, and capitalization rate is 6.15. And me and agent, I check all. We are not having we agreed to all of those ones except the rental rates in the property. We are not contest on the cap rate or the non-recoverables here today, as my understanding on the briefs. So the rental rate, I'm reducing $15.80 based on the model driven. And you can see rental roll attached here. This here. I might apologize always for the wrong page numbers. Page 1 number, page 1 on rental roll. And their Canadian Tire is paying $17.50 per square feet on main floor area, which include the 20,000 square feet mezzanine, and also Canadian Tire gas bar pays $60,000 annually for the land lease for the gas bar. It's on the rent roll, page number 1. And also, owner reported they are making recoveries on Canadian Tire. They reported separately on the recoveries.
What page are you on?
I am on rent roll, 1, 2, 3 page.
Sorry, which page is that?
The rent roll after 1 and second page after the first one. The recovery page, it's the income statement page.
Okay.
Okay.
This one here. Okay.
Yeah, it shows the Canadian Tire store is recovering. And also I checked the recoveries on this property. They are recovering all of those revenue expenses, and in general, because this rent roll for all the LOA investment entire portfolio, but they recovered everything, and that which this property is within the 2% of rent recoveries. So my recommendation, based on evidence presented today, to reduce value to $24,614,000. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions of the assessor?
Sure. Just going to your page 2. Um, 2257 McGilvery. What store is that?
Rona.
Pardon?
Rona.
Rona? Rona store. And was that a build-to-suit
Yes.
location? Was it build-to-suit? And 775 Pilot Road, is that a Rona as well?
Yes.
Is that a sale leaseback?
We have the information about the net lease.
Sorry, what?
It is the net lease. As
No,
per
is
the,
it, was that a, Rona owned it, sold it to an investor and leased it back?
it is the argument we heard many years ago, but the owner reported as a net lease.
No, they still received a net lease, not a problem, I agree with that. Did Rona own it, sell it, and lease it back as a net lease?
I don't know.
The current net lease, is that the step-up rate? Or
Honestly,
is that the rate that was negotiated
Uh,
in 2001?
honestly, if I tell you the truth, $12.88 were renegotiated. Right now, it's $13.02.
Okay, so it was renegotiated, when was it renegotiated to 1288?
It is a post reference, then I did not bring it.
Okay. And that's fine. That's all the questions I have.
Mr.
McIntyre, do you have any questions of the assessor?
Just one question, isn't 775 Hannah Road the Lowe's store?
No, it is a Rona.
I don't think so.
If I may, they're one and the same company, so they might have changed brand.
Lowe's took over Rona's.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, but the information we have Rona, for the print roll, that's why it is Rona.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that was it.
No, okay, that's
Well, that
easy.
was quick.
Has there been any questions of the assessor?
Just, I mean, we'll hear from the agent about the issues he's gonna bring, but can you just talk to me about the cap rate and where it falls in your cap table and why that cap rate was selected? And I know it's model driven,
Oh,
but
that's okay.
perhaps you
That's
can
okay, that's okay.
explain then how your model worked.
In the cap rate, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can consider this one as a power center. I don't know, we don't have any very clear category for the retail warehouses. To me, honestly, it's really hard to me to pick out from this one, telling you about this, it should be the retail warehouse, it should be the power center. If I see the power center rates, it's 7.5 to 7.3. And also it's reported 6.5 from Colliers and the other outside ones. But I can point out one thing from here.
That's great.
If I would like to go to the cap rate evidence from this one, the addenda pages, page number 2. We have retail locations. The retail ones, cap rates stay within 3.110 to 7.4%. Those are the actual evidence presented for the city. Those are the retail locations, but as my understanding, I cannot find one particular property based on the size. This should be the really comparable to the retail warehouse, because we don't have much sales on retail warehouse.
Right, like this is a fairly big
property, but this is the range I can present and based on those evidence presented. Also, if you go, it's even the industrial, it's a higher one, 4.97. But other than that, it is a model driven, and we don't have any disagreement about the cap rates. That's throughout the retail warehouses we are using 6.15.
And you indicated that about 20,000 roughly square feet
It is
mezzanine.
It's a mezzanine.
And
We all
it's
know.
used as storage or
And,
what?
yeah,
And it's
it
not
is-
assessed?
We don't use that one. That's one of the argument we've had the time I was doing the certificate of agreement. I inspect all the Canadian tires. We
Okay.
made as many certificate of agreement removing the mezzanine place. The Canadian tire has a very unique situation. It has a really good, nice mezzanine floors, but it is argument of the fixture or the shutter but it's all the Canadian tire store has a mezzanine floor around $15,000 to $20,000 square feet, square foot, and we include that area as a part of the main floor area because it is used it's 100% used and occupied, and it's a very nice storage. I mean all the Canadian tires inside. It is included in the rent. But we don't use that one as a leasable area. That 20,000 not include in the leasable
So
area.
it's not included in the
But
list.
it is, we use that mezzanine as amenity to the property, and it is using to operate the Canadian Tire app.
Right, but it's not reflected in your model and it's not assigned any.
No, it's removed, it's totally removed from
Okay.
all the Canadian Tires.
Okay, just wanted to be clear on that.
Okay.
And that's the difference basically between the leasable and this.
Yes, gross floor area and the leasable area. You can see gross floor area is 124,946, but we only use 97,415 as the leasable area. That's actually, we believe, truly leasable area. Anyone who leases the Canadian Tire, they have an opportunity to use the mezzanine floor as the storage.
And you indicated that the actual rents as
$17.50.
but you've reduced it based on that municipal board order.
Not
Or
the municipal
the
board
agreement,
order,
the
it is based
certificate.
on the model, but it's supported by the municipal board order, because once we signed the municipal board order, at that time also Canadian Tire is paying $16.50
Okay,
per square feet, but we rely on the model-driven market rents.
Okay.
But I'm doing the same thing here,
Right.
rely on model-driven market rent, based on the evidence.
several years later. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So my question is, I see that they have the decision order based on a certificate of agreement, and it was actually entered into on December 22nd, 2017, according to what it says on it. Would that have been for the 2016 taxation year? It would be, yes, it is. This year was 2016, I just saw that myself.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I did not get the question clearly.
Okay, I'm looking at the decision and order that you submitted as part of your evidence, and I
Yes.
see there was 2016 assessment year.
Yes.
Was this matter, was there an application made by the applicant in 2018?
For this,
This property? I see that
yes,
this,
yes, it was withdraw, 2018 property signed by the 15-1. I did not bring it.
you didn't bring, but there was a 2018 application as well?
Yes,
Okay, and what happened there?
it was a 15-1 agreement. It is not the certificate of
Okay.
agreement. It is not the public document. We
I
usually
understand.
don't,
Okay, so the application wasn't proceeded with then?
yeah.
Okay, and, so reflecting on whatever square footage agreement there was at that time, you're saying that, based on the rent as it now is on the lease, and based on this agreement, it's influenced you to downwardly reflect the actual
Yes.
rental for valuation purposes.
Yes.
You know what rental the 2016
Originally,
you contemplated?
okay, it's probably in here. $14.67.
$14? Okay.
But it is blended, because at that time, we have the mezzanine floor as the leasable area.
Okay.
If you read the write-up, we remove the mezzanine floor area from the leasable area.
Okay.
That's how we kind of decided. We only base on the main floor area, not the leasable
Okay.
area. We no longer use this, totally removed from all the Canadian Tires, the mezzanine.
But it influences the rent on the main floor because
Yes,
it's an attribute.
yes, yes, that's
Yeah.
what happened.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we proceed to arguments.
So, obviously, a discussion started with regards to the mezzanine, so I thought I'd start there and explain how Canadian Tire runs their operation and this mezzanine space. The Canadian Tire, they have storage in the back, and what they've got is racking, and the racking creates this mezzanine. So whenever they leave a store, they'll take out the racking, there is no mezzanine, it's just straight racking. And that's why it's not included in the assessment, it's leasable area, because it's just warehouse racking, that's what it is. So, it doesn't, it's, in their leases, it's not included as area, because it's Canadian Tire, that's the way they run their stores, with the racking and the mezzanine storage. Other stores like your Walmart, or like your Walmart store, they don't build storage like that and racking like that. So it's not typical in the market. That's the way Canadian Tire does their store. I'll go, there's some questions with regards to the lease rate at 720 St. James, which is the subject property. So if I can get you to turn to page 63 of 94, and we'll start there. just sort of explaining how they got to their rate. Their current rate, the step-up rate, if you look on there, from 2011 to 2023 will be $17.50 a square foot. So that's their step-up rate. The way their lease rate came about is they started with a 20-year lease in 2000 they were given an inducement, and it worked out to a face rent of $14.10 and a step-up rate of $15.30. Subtracting out their inducement, it was a net rent of $10.60. What they did in 2008, 8 years into the term, they renegotiated their lease. And then it'll also be important as I go through the brief, what was happening in 2008 in the market at that time. They got an inducement and expanded their space, and that's what their new lease rates were. And I've calculated out basically what their net rent is. This is $15.41. But it wasn't a straight new lease. It was negotiated sort of partway into the term. And again, it was in response to what was happening in 2008, and that's when Target was coming into the marketplace. And a lot of these type of stores were putting a lot of money into their stores to spruce them up and get ready for the extra competition. So I'll go back and I'll start at the beginning. And I'll just start on page 7. Showing the assessment history. In 2018, it was $21,136,000, and in 2020, it moved to $26,672,000. Just turning on to page 8 and 9, just showing where photographs of the subject and its location. Right across from Polo Park Mall there. It's one of the prime locations in Winnipeg. Just going through pages 10 through to 15, just giving an overview of the Winnipeg, of the Manitoba Provincial Economic Overlook. Just basically showing that it's a stabilized economy, hasn't seen the swings like the rest of the Western economy. Not expected to grow at too high of a rate. Then on pages 16, 17 to basically 21, just giving a quick overview on the Winnipeg market itself and economic conditions. Again, just showing a stabilized sort of 1% growth rate happening there. But really what we get down to is when we start on page 22, is talk about the retail market and what's happening into the retail market. And basically since 2010, there's been a big change in the retail sector. And a large number of stores are closing down. In figure 1 there of page 22, showing, these are the US stats, but showing the large number of retail stores that are closing down. And then on page 23, the number of stores which are closing down in Canada. And then again, looking at the major ones affecting the large format, of course, being the Sears and the Target stores. And then looking at the figure 2 on 23, again showing what's happened there, a compression of the stores. Sears is gone, Target is gone, Rona and Lowe's are actually one and the same now, so you're not going to get a competition. So you're getting a compression of what's out there in the market and who the competition is to lease space. On page 24 and 25, talk about the Sears closing and its effect on the market. On the bottom of page 25, talking about the Target closing. And then on page 25, talking about the Sears and Target backfill. Basically looking at the figure 4, showing this current vacant space at Polo Park, St. Vital. These are the Regent, the Kildonan Shopping Center, and then Garden City Shopping Center. Part of the space has been leased out since, but it's only part of what this year's space was. So again, quite a bit of vacant space there. Showing on figure 5, what happened to the Target spaces. Basically, the Polo Park Shopping Center Target space redeveloped into a Winners, a Home Sense, and a call center. The Kildonan Place Shopping Center, again, that was all torn apart and redemised. Being the main tenants now being the Marshalls and the Home Sense. And then 2 of the store locations were taken over. The Southdale Center, Walmart, took over the Target space, negotiated a lease there for the 98,000 square feet. And 1080 Grant, the Canadian Tire, took over part of the space, or negotiated a lease there for part of the space with Good Life Fitness taking over the other space. So what we've got here is we've seen that a lot of these spaces are, when they become vacant, are being demolished or redemised. So we're getting a really compression of the market, and there's not a lot of demand for these spaces. When there's not a lot of demand, you should see prices fall, or rental rates, in this case, fall. I talk about the overall vacancy rate. We don't have a problem with the vacancy rate. We're in agreement with that. So I'm just going to go on to talk about the market value and our income approach that we did on page 29. And again, looking at the difference between market rent or economic rent versus contract rent. I think the assessor, on a number of the leases that they use, they're listing contract rents, which are not most probable rent that a property would bring in the open market. It's their contract rent. So there's inducements that need to be taken into account, current contractual obligations, which may need to be taken into account as well. So contract rent is effectively the face rent. On page 30, I have quite a discussion on determining fair market rents on build-to-suit locations. These are very similar to like sale leaseback situations as well. That again, these aren't open to a open market situation, because in a build-to-suit, obviously they're building a specific item for that tenant. And I'll just go to read the blurb in the center there of page 31. To use build-to-suit rents for the purpose of estimating market value of the fee simple interest in a big box real property analysis is wrong on a couple of levels. First, insomuch as they are not rented in an auction marketplace exposed to the market for a typical period of time, they are not representative of market rent. Secondly, because they represent contracts in place, they are not representative of fee simple interest. And those are, and this quoted from the real estate issues, valuation of big box for assessment purposes. Moving on to page 32. We looked at trying to find out, okay, now we know all the problems with trying to find a market rent. What is our determination of fair market rent? So I went through and figure one, and you can see these are the current leases. The 1080 Grant is leased in for $675. And if you turn to page 69 of 94, this was it's the lease amending agreement between the Grants Park Venture and the Canadian Tire. And on page 70, you'll note that they also included a $3.5 million tenant improvement allowance for that rent. And then there's 2305 McPhillips, and again, I will get you to go to page. What the assessor is using, what I've determined as a rent are slightly different. And I've got the analysis there, I'll just find the right page here. That's on page 63 of 94. Again, that was a 1998 lease. Was originally for 15 years. They were given an inducement. Worked out to a net rent of $5.61. 10 years into the term, in 2008, again, they renegotiated the lease. They got a $1 million inducement. And their new rates were $11 a square foot for 2008 to 2013, and from 2013 to 2018 was $12 per square foot. And then, again, with their $1 million inducement, came out to a net rent of $10.43. And they expanded the area, and that was their total area there. And then we went through and explained the subject site and how I arrived at the 1541. There's current listing right now, and I'll get you to turn the page. Page 81 of 94. And that's the old Staples across the street from the subject property. It's about 30,000 square foot, 28,000 square foot store. And they're currently asking $12 a square foot for that space. And then I just also point out that the property right next to the subject, if we go to, started on page 76, and then going through to page 78. You'll see part of that power center. That's the old Hudson's Bay Home Store, which is currently vacant and asking for rent. Went through the Walmart leases, again, on there, showing an average rent of around $8.96, and medium rent of $8.16. Papers out of order. We looked at the vacancy, we're finding the vacancy, and the cap rate, and the overall cap rate is supported there. I ended up with a rent of $12 a square foot as the market rent. And that's on page 34, calculations for the Canadian Tire store. So what we did is, we also did a cost approach on the property to see if that rent is out of whack or supported by our income analysis. I know the cost approach is particularly useful in valuing new or nearly improved properties, improvements, which the subject is not. But the big one is properties that are not frequently exchanged in the market. As we saw, trying to find a cap rate analysis, trying to find lease rates, those aren't very frequently exchanged in the market. So we looked at the cost approach, and just reading from the blurb in the center there, the approach and appraisal analysis, which is based on the proposition that an informed purchaser would pay no more than the cost of producing a substitute property with the same utility as the subject property. The approach is particularly applicable when the property being appraised involves relatively new improvements, which also represent the highest and best use of the land, or when relatively unique or specialized improvements are located on the site for which no comparable properties exist. We just went through on page 36 and 37, just explaining the cost approach again with regard to estimating the land value, depreciation analysis, remaining economic life analysis. So starting out on page 40, we did a costing as a warehouse discount store. And if you can go to page we'll start, I guess, from the cost approach, we'll start with the land value on page 42. We did an analysis to check to see if there was excess land on the site based on the square footage requirements for parking. So we determined that there wasn't a excess land component there. The assessment acreage is 6.3 acres. Try to determine an assessed value for the land. Our best comparable that we ended up trying to find is the Polo Park. Behind the Polo Park Mall, there's a large chunk of vacant land there, 16 acres, and that's at basically $1 million an acre. This we felt was even better than that for the land value. And we ended up with a land value of $1.5 million an acre. We had a land value of $9.45 for the land. And then we added the cost approach for the improvements. On page 45, showing the cost approach. The detailed cost approach is in a little more readable format. It is available on page 73, included on page 74. And costing it out at depreciated cost of $4.7 million. But that includes the GST. So on page 46, we did our replacement cost new, less depreciation, less the GST equals your depreciated replacement cost. And we did our depreciated replacement cost plus our land value equals our cost value of around $12 million. So that's supportive of our income approach, which ended up at $17 million for the subject property. and that's our requested value, $17,500,000.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm already asked the questions. I'm not present on my rebuttal. I am prepared to present the rebuttal evidence.
That's fine.
And I'm only focus the questions. I'm not going to focus on my rebuttal. So in here, the first question, I'm directly moving to page number 35.
Yes?
Then, is there any evidence to support for shortfall amount should be $12 per square feet?
For the shortfall amount? No.
Okay. You don't consider the gas bar should be should value as the part of the valuation income approach?
No, I left the gas bar, the gas bar value from our perspective is fine for the gas bar. So this was just on the Canadian Tire Store component, so the gas bar value at 1.4 million is.
That means
is
you mean
acceptable.
your valuation final value will be 17,502,000 plus the gas bar valuation from the city?
Yes.
That's what you are looking
Yes.
for? Okay. But this is you appeal for the entire road?
That is correct.
Okay. And now I'm moving to cost approach. On page number 44, those the land information are the assessment information. Those are not the market sale information for the land value.
No, that's the assessed values for the land.
Okay, those are the assessed value for the land.
Yes.
It's not the market evidence of a sale by
That would
sale
be-
information.
Correct. So on page 43, those are the assessments. We're supposed
Yeah,
to reflect.
then
market
land value calculated based on the assessment square feet. Okay,
Yes, yeah, so we've taken what's the low rate, or the rate across the street in Upper Block of 963,000 an acre.
okay,
And
do you
we've
aware
applied,
about,
we've
yeah,
applied
do you,
12.5.
yeah, do you aware about the, we don't consider assessment as the market evidence?
Well, we're in agreement with the city as that it should be reflective of the market value. So that's the evidence that we have, that's reflecting market value.
Okay, then the same question on your, because we are not focusing on cost value at all, because city won't use the cost value, but I just asked the questions because you entered the cost information here. So the calculation you made for the Swift estimator calculation only for the Canadian Tire portion, not for the gas bar. It
Correct.
does not include additional building value, nothing.
Correct, yeah, it's only been done for the, as I said, we're in agreement with the one, we got the right figure 1.4 for the gas bar.
Even honestly, I don't know. Once I review your document,
Yeah.
my understanding was you are looking for value to be reduced 70,502,000 because it's nowhere it's indicate this is only the Canadian Tire, it should be.
Okay, but he answered that he is
Yeah.
including
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
so-
no,
No,
and I think we will,
No.
just for clarification, we'll have a repeating theme for some of the
Yes.
other ones as well. I just really focused the brief on the areas of
Okay.
disagreement.
No,
Right?
I wanted to know because
Yeah.
I didn't know.
No, okay, you clarified that with me,
Yeah.
thank you. Because we
Okay,
didn't know
sure.
either until you did
Yeah.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not ask any further questions on this one because I don't want to repeat on my rebuttal.
Well, any questions that we come out of your rebuttal are fine, but any questions you should have asked now that you didn't ask, we might not allow you to ask later on. So I think you should ask any questions you think are pertinent now, because we can't,
Okay,
because we can't, I don't know how your rebuttal is gonna go.
okay,
So if you have other questions, I think you should ask them now, just in case.
okay, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
No, I will leave it with my rebuttal.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Mr. Manager, do you have any questions of the applicant?
The only one I had was the kiosk value, and that's been answered.
Yeah, I had that one too, actually.
Okay. Okay, well,
But I do have a
go
question.
ahead.
On page 32 of 94 in your figure 1,
Sorry, which page was it? 32?
32 of 94, in your table. Explain to me again. Yeah, this one here, up here, 32 of 94 at the top.
Okay, 32 is the bottom here, so maybe it's, okay.
In this
Yeah,
figure.
it's 32, it's page 33 at the bottom, so it's.
Yeah, page 33 at the bottom,
Yeah.
at the top.
Okay.
You have a lease rate of 1541
Yes,
for this property.
yes.
And then in your request and your workup, then on page 34, you talk about a $12 lease rate. Can you explain to me again how you arrived at that $12?
Sure.
I know it's got something to do with inducements.
Well, it's actually, it's a mix of
Okay.
things, because first thing is that that's not a current market rent.
What is not?
Okay, the 1541, you know, that was a start date lease in 2008.
And how long
Right.
does the lease go for?
So that's the tricky question, and we will go to page. Go to page 63 of 94. So the lease actually will go to 2023. The the actual original lease was started in 2000.
Right,
8 years into a term, they renegotiated the lease.
right.
So it's not typical of what market conditions would be. If we already have a lease in place, why would we renegotiate a lease? And you gotta remember back in 2008, that's when Target was coming in, and there
Right.
was a big, everyone was putting a lot of money into their stores, bring them up to get ready for this competition. So, and so in 2008, they renegotiated a lease from 2008 to 2011 at 1630, and 2011 to 2023 at 1750, for an average rate of 1726. So if you look at the rent roll that the assessor's using, they're saying, oh, they're paying 1750 for that. But that's not a current negotiated market rent, that's what their lease says. And that's the face rent or contract rent. They did get an inducement at that time for 1.8 million, which worked out to $1.85 a year, and that got a net rent of $15.41. So what I was saying is that's how I got to the 1541, but you gotta remember that was back in 2008, and the market conditions have changed quite a bit since then. And we can see that across the street they're asking $12. Beside the subject is vacant. The market has changed quite a bit since then. And that's why if you look at the couple of stores that the Canadian Tire Grant, 675, and then the Lakewood Boulevard, Walmart rent at 666. Those happened subsequent to the Target pulling out.
So despite the actual rent that they're paying,
Yeah.
based on market, you think they're overpaying?
Well, no. Yeah, based on market, they're overpaid, yeah, actual is not market, and that goes to, talk about that in basically page 29, versus the market rent versus contract rent. And so I'm saying that their contract rent, yeah, it's certainly higher, but that's not what a market rent is. And what we're tasked with doing here is trying to determine what is a market rent.
Okay, so then can you take me how you got to the 12?
Sure. So basically, I looked at the rents that were available, and that's that
That's that
page
page
32.
32.
Then I looked at
And you looked at
and then I
the
looked at it
area.
across the street, looked at the
Yeah.
area, looked at across the street.
Right.
And so I said, this is a much more desirable area, it's one of the
Mhm.
prime areas in town, so it should be
Mhm.
attracting a higher rent.
Okay,
And then if we've got one across the street asking 12, we've got the vacant on the side of the subject going on.
okay,
And then so I determined that a 12 is sort of being
okay,
higher than what the average rents are.
okay, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so my question goes back to what the assessor asked you, and that is, you've got, the city, when they did the arithmetic, used a shortfall, $6 a foot. You used $12, and when asked how you got that, you basically didn't have an answer, so I'm wondering, I have the same question, because you're asking us to use your arithmetic, but you don't have an answer to how you're asking for a shortfall of $12 a foot rather than 6.
Yes, no, yeah, I did not realize the city had a $6 shortfall on that. I thought they had a 12, we can change that to 6.
Okay.
And then I'll calculate a new number here for you. So, the number is, your number comes to 23,380 at $6.
Oh, so it's a typo?
So it must be a typo then, 'cause that's the same number I've got here.
And looking at the city shortfall, they have 23,382, I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, so.
Now that I look at it.
Yeah, so I think the
So-
$12 is a mistake, and
Okay,
then it's
so,
6, yeah.
yeah.
We didn't have a disagreement with that, so that's why I thought that they should be the same, but yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thanks for clearing that up. Okay, that's my question. Now, you have some rebuttal you indicated.
Yes.
You can present it now if you wish.
Before that, though, I have to object to the rebuttal. The way the process works is we've submitted our brief
Right,
with all the information.
right.
The assessor had that information. If they had anything they wanted to rebut, they could have certainly put that in their brief for, as part of the evidence. By splitting their case, there's no time to prepare for any rebuttal evidence that's coming forward. If they did have something that they disagreed with, that they wanted to change, they certainly had ample opportunity to put that in their brief. And that's the way the process is set up.
Well, that's the way you're at, we'll agree how the process is
Yeah,
set up.
okay.
That's your position.
Yeah, that's my position, yeah.
And I'll let the assessor give her position.
Okay.
And then we'll have to rule on it.
Yeah,
Okay,
fair enough.
what's your position?
I think we should present the rebuttal because I am not presenting any new evidence. I'm not bringing any new evidence. All the rebuttal based on the information I'm providing, based on what the applicants have
Okay.
reported to me, because until I see his document, I don't know what I should include in my brief. That's the only supporting document. Even I can speak to the matter without my evidence giving, but I don't want to change the procedures here because we are allowed to use the rebuttal all the time.
Okay.
When I prefer to submit the rebuttal, but in my mind, I can rebut without evidence, but I would like to do the procedure submitting rebuttal.
Okay. I can indicate that ordinarily we do accept rebuttal evidence. Yours was the first argument I've ever heard from anybody objecting to it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to let my panel members, I decide.
If I may, just clarification on how the process works here. So I've submitted my brief.
Right, absolutely.
Does the assessor submit their brief at the same time?
Or before, perhaps.
Okay, so they do submit it at the same time as our brief is done? Okay, that's fine, I wasn't aware of that, I thought they had a week after to
No.
submit it, okay.
Not
Okay,
the
that's fine,
same
then
time.
I'll withdraw my objection then, it's fine.
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
go on it,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can. Thank you. Okay, receive your rebuttal when you're ready to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The page number 1, those are the rent rolls I attached to show the net lease for those are the information I am providing to rebut for the applicant's brief. For the comparable lease information, submit in page number 33. Canadian Tire at McPhillips, they are reporting lease rent of $12 per square feet as per our page number 1. Because $10.43, it's recalculated numbers based on the tenant inducement and the tenant improvements, which is we don't consider in the Manitoba, because I have attached the board orders from the municipal board in page number 17 to page number 25 to show the tenant inducement, intensives we won't use to adjust the lease rent in Manitoba. Page number 2, also the same information, Canadian Tire and St. James paying $17.50 per square feet for Canadian Tire store and store. And page number 3, this is the evidence for the South Jail 35 Lakewood Boulevard Walmart store. Page number 33, Mr. Buckingham was indicated the Walmart lease was negotiated in 2000. As per our knowledge, as per the city records, that the lease was negotiated in 1965 to 2022. At the time was sellers in there. That's our knowledge. The $6.66 were renegotiated in 1965 as per our record. And also, I'm moving to page number 4, page number 5, and I'm talking very general, those ones. I'm not going one by one because the lease rates were recalculated in 1665 Kenaston Boulevard. It is a Walmart store. The $6.60 as a lease rate per square foot indicated in the brief. But my knowledge, as per the page number 5, as per the lease excerpt, this lease were negotiated 20 years ago. At that time, original Walmart was there, which is the smaller location, which only has a 127,951 square feet at annual rental value, and the rate should be $8.57. And later, they have done a renovation. It's not a renovation, addition. You can see pictures in page number 6, 7, 8. They made a renovation. It is common in all the Walmarts. This same thing done in the Rebuttal Supercenter and the Regent Walmart and the Canadian Walmart in the Kenaston. They make addition, spending their tenant did the addition around 30,000 square feet, and they spend all the money, but they are not paying any rent over the additional space. they built using their own money. But original lease were negotiated in 20 years ago for $8.57 as per our records. But $6.66, what's the recalculation of for the using rent divided by new square footage. So I'm not going to talk all the lease information for Regent. It's the same thing. The lease reported here is the total annual rent divided by current square footage, not as per the original lease. Then I'm moving to board of revision orders. And we talked already the first one. I'm not going to talk about the first one. The page number 14, Board of Revision Order, Municipal Board Order, Certificate of Agreement for Kenaston Home Depot. We used $12.25 for 2016 cycle. And page number 17 to 24, as I indicated before, those are the board orders for we don't consider any tenant inducements or any improvements to adjust the rent. And the racking, it is a racking as per, I know the lots of time, we talk about the racking as a mezzanine, but the city definition, it is a mezzanine, but it could be defined as a racking. I don't have any object about the word of racking or mezzanine, but you can see the pictures. But it is totally up to the board to decide is it a racking or the mezzanine. I don't argue or anything about the wording at here. So those, and also I have attached, I'm not going to talk to the excerpts I attached from the charter, but it is, I can talk now and, no, I will leave it later to the other properties, except from the City of Winnipeg charter. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all my rebuttal.
Thank you. If you have any questions on the rebuttal, you can ask them now.
If you can turn to page on my brief, page 64, 94. This is landlord to consent to assign an assumption of lease agreement made the 11th day of June 2015. The effective date between Target, Walmart, and Morguard Trust. So this is for the property that you referred to on page 3. Is that correct?
As my understanding, this one, it is for the change in the Target to the Walmart. But it's a lease, it's originally negotiated at the seller's time. It won't change in between time. It's the continuation of the same lease.
So, that's signed by the landlord, Morguard Real Estate Trust?
The rent roll
No,
signed by
is the document that I'm showing you signed by, is that with the landlord consent as well? Is landlord, Walmart and Canadian, Walmart and Target part of that lease agreement?
As per your document?
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
seeing yes.
Okay, so, did the landlord have an opportunity to say, that's ridiculously low rent, I'm gonna get another tenant in here to pay a higher rent?
I don't know.
Okay, thank you. On your page 4, you're referring to the rent there at $8.31 is what you've calculated?
Yes, but
And
it's
on,
the
okay,
basic.
on page 5, you've calculated a rent of $8.57 based
Give
on,
me a
based
moment,
on the
yeah,
square
I
footage.
wanted to, yeah, question, answer is yes, but I wanted to tell you the exact thing. I only used the calculator to divide it 1096540 divided by 1/3/27. It's
Yeah.
the two numbers only. I
Yeah.
did not do anything.
Okay,
I
okay.
just
So it's
divided.
showing a signed lease agreement at $8.57. And then on your page 9, showing a signed lease agreement at $8.25. So we had, sorry, page 4 was a signed lease agreement at $8.31, page 5 at $8.57, and page 9 at $8.25. Okay, thank you.
Are you finished? Is that your
Yeah.
questions?
Those are my questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions of the assessor on the rebuttal, Mr. Manager?
I have no questions.
And do you, Ms. Lisbeth?
I have no questions.
Okay. I've got a question of you on this,
Yeah.
because you asked a question, and that takes you to the assignment from Target to Walmart considered by the landlord.
Yeah.
Now, if the lease is at a less than market value and it's got a term on it, it's an asset, would it not be?
It is an asset,
It's
yes.
an asset, it's a saleable asset.
Uh,
If it's assignable, if there's no restriction on the signing, it's a saleable asset, is it not?
Subject to landlord approval.
Well, it
So
depends,
if, so,
it depends on whether you need, if the landlord has the right, though, to not allow assignment of the lease. And that would only depend on whether it's in the original lease,
Yes.
or if there's been, if the tenant who wants to sell that lease, the previous tenant, has reneged on their obligation under and broken the contract. Otherwise, if they've kept up their obligation to pay the rent, and if Target in fact did go bankrupt in Canada, I'm not sure how they disposed of their assets here, but if they did, the trustee in bankruptcy even would take that asset and sell it.
if it was, if it had a value.
Well, you don't know it doesn't though.
For the Target one, I could certainly look at the other Target spaces and what happened to them.
Yeah, but this
They
is
will-
a unique
yeah,
lease though,
well,
with this landlord.
This is with regards to this landlord, but you also have to look at it within regards to the market as a whole. So
I
if you look at,
understand.
so, but well,
But
let
no,
me just,
excuse me,
Yeah.
you asked the question whether the landlord didn't have an opportunity of asking for a higher rent at this time. And I don't know if that's a fair question, because I don't know that the landlord had that opportunity of doing so based on the contract, which you haven't presented to us.
I'll agree that I haven't presented it to you, and I will move you to page 26 of 94. And look at what happened to all the other Target spaces.
I know we're talking about this lease.
So, I agree, and I think when you're a landlord, we're gonna look to the market and see what's happening in the market with the other spaces.
If the
right?
landlord has the right
Yeah.
though, to not assign that lease. If the lease is, all the rent's been
Yeah.
paid, and if the tenant has adhered to all requirements, and if the lease, there's no restriction on assignment, then the landlord has no choice but to
Okay,
agree.
well, great, we put together 4 if statements to try and figure out whether.
But we don't
it is-
know though.
Yeah, we don't know those, but then we also have to look into the market and say, what happened in the market? Okay, let's look to the market and see, on the other side,
But it was
on
assigned-
on the contrary,
Now, I understand, but this
Yeah.
lease was assigned at less than market rent.
no, you don't.
Well,
You see, we see that it was assigned,
right,
so let's look to the market and see, is it assigned at a market rent or is it at a below market rent? And then, so we look to the market, and what does the market show for the other Target spaces? Well, the other Target spaces, if I was a landlord, I would be worried because I would have had to spend a lot of money redemising them. We look at what else happened to the other Target space at Grant. They gave a $2.5 million inducement, and they leased out less space than the Target took. So if I'm looking to the market, and I'm seeing what's happened out there, as a landlord, I'm happy to sign someone on, because my choices are spend a lot of money, have it vacant for a long period of time. Right?
Yeah.
Those are
That might be-
your
but
options.
your question of the assessor was, they had a right then,
to increase the rent or,
No, they had the right not to assign it to,
we don't know that.
okay.
We don't know that.
Yes, I didn't put that in here, so.
Okay.
By,
Anyway, that's.
yeah.
Okay, this matter is now completed then. I think we should take a 5-minute break. So we're going to resume our hearing, and the next property we'll hear is 1519 Regent Avenue West, and you can proceed when you're ready. Cecil?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I do the presentation, I hand out my recommendation.
Did you write any of the numbers down this time? Usually I do anyway.
I know when I did press the button.
Okay.
Oh,
Trying to
thank you.
See you in my
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Roll number 090104731155. Property address 1519 Regent Avenue West. This owned by Canadian Tire Corporation Limited. Property originally valued for $21,982,000. This property includes the retail warehouse component and the gas kiosk. And today I'm recommending to reduce the value $19,616,000 as I submitted income calculation. Property used as a retail warehouse. It was originally built in 1986 and up to 1999. This property also has a planned area of 101,381 and gross floor area of 120,336. And we only use 104,371 as the leasable area because it also has a storage racking, storage mezzanine space in there. This property value in 2018-19 for $20,415,000. Then this was not appealed for Board of Revision for 2018 and 19, but it's reviewed for the storage mezzanine removal for that time, and we renegotiated the value. So today my recommendation based on using $12.25 on main floor area and $6.50 on office mezzanine floor area. That's the basic change I have made for my recommendation. And page number 2 is the rent comparables. I'm not going to go through all of those ones. We talked in the previous hearing, previous property, 720 St. James. The same comparables, rate vary $14 to $17.50. And page number 3 is the Canadian Tire Google views. And this has the gas kiosk and gas bar. And I wanted to be little, the gas bar value is here, $768,000. It also changed with the recommendation little bit because of the additional building value change. The gas bar here is not big as the other location, 720 St. James location, and it has a different type of underground tanks in this location. That's why it's additional building value. If you compare the two, additional building value will be a little bit different in the St. James to region, but it is reason for the different underground tanks in the both locations. If I want to be very specific. So my rental rate originally sent out $13.54 on the main floor and $13.30 7 cents on the office portion in the second floor. I use model-driven vacancy rate of $4%, and shortfall $6 per square feet, and 2% main office. $2 on expenses. Cap rate is 6.15. The difference, if I be clear, the difference in rental rate and the additional building value change only. My new value calculated 19,616,000, and this is the unoccupied building, but they don't report any expenses on this property. You can see blank mailers with the clarification of letter in page number. The first page of this is the page. They don't submit any information, but I'm not looking any penalties to put on these ones because it's an unoccupied property. Same information, cap rate information, everything is same, and also I have attached 2 board of revision orders, one for Home Depot. We use $12.25 for 2016 cycle Kenaston, which is a similar location to the region, and we use 720 St. James. We talked before this one. I'm not going to talk more. So my value is 19,616,000. I'm kindly asking reduce the value. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Shibek, you can ask any questions you might have now.
No questions that we sort of haven't gone over already at this
Okay.
point, but if we can carry forward those same questions, take it as.
Absolutely,
That's
yeah.
take it as
I
read.
appreciate that. If
Take it as read.
If evidence flows from one application to the other, we've got good memories.
Okay,
Okay.
good, okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure we're doing that, okay. Yeah, so I will move,
Well, hang on, I just want to make sure
yeah,
there aren't any questions of board members.
sure.
There might not be, but just in case.
Just one quick question.
Sure, go ahead, Mr.
Can you clarify what you meant by additional building value due to different underground tanks?
Okay, if you compare, if it happened to compare the why is the 2 different additional building value in the St. James and here, because St. James has a double wall underground tank, full tank, and also it has a better island shelter. And this one has a single wall underground tanks, which is, those are the additional value. It is including this one. That's the difference between the 2 numbers, but if it's happened to compare.
Okay, no, I was just curious because
No,
you
it's
can't see the underground tanks.
Yes, it is, but we entered as one is the double ground modern
Yeah.
underground tanks, the other one is a single wall tanks,
Okay, thank you.
which lower value.
Thanks.
Any other questions, Mr. Bethel?
No, that's it.
Ms.
Maybe I wasn't paying attention when you talked about this. In this Canadian Tire, you've assessed the mezzanine.
No, we don't.
There's a leasable
Oh,
area
yeah.
and a square foot area assigned.
Okay, slightly different, okay, I
Yeah.
can explain to why. There, Canadian Tire has 3 different type of mezzanines. One is the storage tracking type mezzanine,
Which is the one we heard about in the
it
previous.
is, no one can, public cannot go, public cannot see. The other mezzanine is the tire center mezzanine, which is they store the tires. The other mezzanine is the office mezzanine. This is the location, that's the only area we consider as accessible. This use for office, it is the nicely finished office space for the Canadian Tire service. That's the, as a thumb of rule, we use the half rent, but last cycle we agreed to use the exact same rent on both mezzanine and main floor, but this cycle I go with the norm as a half rate, approximately half rate of mezzanine rates.
Okay. Okay, then I understand why it was used just struck me as,
No, I have the same question. But now I'm looking too, there's only 3,450 square feet.
no, I knew,
So,
yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, well, I have no questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Great.
your turn.
Yeah, and I'll start off with the mezzanine issue there, as well. For it's just office space, mezzanine, so they've got their administration office and stuff there. And in my analysis, I did use the full rate for it. It's square footage that's, every store needs an area for your lunchroom, break room, and office space, right? So just consider typical, part of the typical lease square footage on there. Just going through the rent here, the only real difference being, just go to the same page 32, we've got the same lease analysis that we talked about in the previous one. And just my conclusion of rent on page 34 of 74, being $10 a square foot. Just cross-reference the shortfall of $12 that it is calculates out at $6 a square foot. It just, that is continue the same typo through. There we go. Did the same analysis as before, and then just yeah, on there, just to clarify for the conclusion of value, I did not add the gas station value to there, so we agree with the assessor's gas station value on the recommendation there at. Let me find the right sheet here. Lost it already. 700, yeah, here it is, 768,000. We're gonna add that to the value. Request for 15,559,000. So it'd be 16,327,000.
That's good.
That's
Any questions of the applicant?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman. I don't have much questions. I
Okay,
don't
Mr.
have
Magda, do you have any questions?
So the only issue is the rent?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Is this bit? Any questions?
And so, is there a lease in place, obviously?
obviously not, it's
There
an
is no
owner
lease.
occupied, it's an owner occupied
Oh,
store.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I
it's
missed that,
an
okay.
owner occupied
Thank
store.
you, thank you. That's fine.
And thinking you to page 774 of yours, because you did show that in the previous cycle, it had been assessed at 20,415, and the new assessment before the recommendation made by the assessor was 21,982. So you showed an increase of 7.68%, but in fact, with recognition, the assessment recommendation's gone down with recognition.
Yes,
Yes, and I see you're seeking even a greater one, it's based on the same information, you're saying the market rents again are decreased and.
yeah,
And there's no lease in place in this case, so it would be market rent.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Question, was the last assessment in 2018, was that, was an application made on that one? For reaction? Do you know?
I can't remember on that one.
I can clarify if you wish. What happened to the last
You know,
one?
any clarification is a good thing to have, so I'll let you do so.
Okay, this roll number went through the replat process in 2015 for the roads we were taken to the road development, and the roll number changed. Somehow it was misappealing for the, as my knowledge, as I talked to Mr. David Nishibakingham previously last
Yes.
cycle. Then say somehow they misappealed the property for this one because roll number changed based on the replat process. So in order to be fair and equitable, once we remove the storage mezzanine from the 720 St. James Street, we decided to inspect all the Canadian tires, apply same thing to all the Canadian tires.
Okay.
That's how we get.
That's how the assessment goes down.
That's why it went down.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, that's good, and we can proceed with the
There
next
you
one. Okay. Okay, so our next property is at 1576 Regent Avenue West. Is
Mr.
that-
Chairman,
Yes.
if you don't mind, I would like to move to 1711 Kenaston Boulevard, because which is the Canadian Tire before we move to Walmart.
That's fine. I think it makes sense to do that. And it's next on the agenda, but certainly we can go out of order
Yeah.
and make it easier.
And also, I'm making a recommendation here.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Roll number 0306255010. Property address 1711 Kenaston Boulevard. Property owner Canadian Tire Real Estate Limited. Property value for 2020 is 21,331,000. And today I'm making a recommendation to reduce to 63,000. So this property used as a retail warehouse, and also this property has a different component, 3 CRUs as a retail CRUs, which is built later than in 2018. This property originally built in 1999, and 2018 it was added the 3 CRUs into the property. And plan area is 102,546, gross floor area of 122,299. This also have a mezzanine storage area, which is we don't use for assessment. And page number 2, my typical comparables for the retail warehouses. And the page number 3 is the comparable for Starbucks location, which is in my new recommendation. You can see I put as a Starbucks. Those are the Starbucks locations close proximity to the property. And page number 3, you will see the Google picture. This one, you can see the Canadian Tire and the big parts. And also the tiny, small square is the 3 CRUs. And pictures in page number 4 showing the CRUs and the Canadian Tire. As in City of Winnipeg Charter, we have an obligation of assessing all the businesses. We have to license all the businesses to the system, and we have to use the market rent based on the market evidence. That's what we are doing here. We license the Starbucks, and the second Mancho Bistro is still, it did not enter to the system, but it is there, and the nail bar, and we all use the market rent for those ones. And my page number 2 is the retail, page number 3 is the retail comparables for those retail units. The overall blended rent for the Canadian Tire only came up as $12.06. It is $12 per square feet approximately, using only 3 units in upper, the C1 Canadian Tire and C1 Canadian Tire. Somehow this property was entered as a 2 premises. That's why we have 2 premises for Canadian Tire main floor. And the third unit, C6 office mezzanine, it's a Canadian Tire office, administrative office there. I use the $6.50. Overall blended for Canadian Tire is $12.06. And no gas bar in here, but they have a 3 CRUs. And all of the CRUs as of today occupied and fully finished and operate. And I wanted to be a little clear here, because this property, no, that's okay, so I'm moving to the board orders, those board orders we already talked about those board orders. Those are the 720 St. James and Kenaston Boulevard board orders. For the $12.25, we agreed to the Home Depot at the Kenaston Boulevard for 2016 cycle. So based on those evidence, today I'm asking to reduce value to $20,063,000 for this property. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
No questions.
Mr. McIntyre, any questions?
So the current owner is Canadian Tire Real Estate Limited, correct?
That's right.
And the board order from 2015 was Alloway Investments?
Yes, that's right.
So was there a sale?
No, it's Alloway, St. James is the tenant. Canadian Tire is the tenant in the St. James location.
Oh, okay.
It's with the owner.
Okay, thanks. That was it.
Elizabeth, any questions?
No questions.
I don't either. So, you can provide your evidence now?
Sure. And so, just for clarification, if we can turn to the assessor's recommendation page there.
Yes?
I noted a couple math errors in mine, but so I thought the easiest way is just go through the assessor's recommendation here. Let me just find that right page so we can cross-reference it. Yeah, so we look at page 3475. And so my area here, I had 105,757, but so just to clarify, that is not for the entire Canadian Tire store. The actual Canadian Tire store should be 101,758 square feet. And the only difference, and really is what we're disagreeing with, is if you look at the assessor's recommendation, where they have 3 components, the 83,000, the 14,000, and 3,000, that comes up to the 758 square feet. And really the area of disagreement is if you take the assessor's 1225 for the main store and 650 for the mezzanine area, I'm suggesting the rate should be $10 for the entire store. and that creates value, taking the Starbucks and the other ones at the assessor's rates, comes to a value of $16,790,940.
So 16 million,
790,940.
okay.
So just, I wrote in some other numbers, so we've just got some subtotals on our way. Potential rent then would be $1,128,879 versus the $1,300,000. The gross effective then becomes $1,083,723. The expenses stay the same. The net operating income then becomes $1,032,664.
1032.
1,032,642.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a clarification from the Mr. Davis?
You have an opportunity of asking questions.
Okay.
You have to- yeah.
And so we're taking the evidence that we've seen before, moving forward. That's the only changes to make there.
Okay, that's, if you ask any questions you might have right now.
Okay,
Okay.
because I was little confused about the presentation and the adjusting data on my recommendation. I wanted to be clarified. Can you explain what is the correct leasable area for what's the number you use for the Canadian Tire?
Yeah, I calculated at, I'm gonna go back, I wrote it down on page 32 here for me. 101,758 square feet?
Which is the exact number I
Yes.
submit? Okay,
Yes.
that you are not disputing any numbers I am submitting wrong?
Well, the rent.
Oh, really? But not the area? No.
Not the area, no,
Okay,
no, I was just pointing out in my brief, I had, made a mistake and included the entire mall
Okay,
area
no,
as
no.
a Canadian Tire, because that's about the size of a Canadian Tire store, so I didn't even think about it. As I went through it, it's like, oh yeah, right, this is the one with the
Okay,
Starbucks.
no, I
Forgot
want,
to take
sorry
that
about
out.
asking
Yeah.
that question, I
Yeah.
want to be very,
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
because we are agree to the
Yeah.
square footage, no
Yeah.
problem with the square
No
footage,
problem.
only the problem is
Yeah.
in the rate.
Yeah, as I say, take your recommendation, the only thing is you've got two in there at $12.25 and one at $6.50, and I believe it should be $10 to cross all three. Right? On your recommendation page?
Okay, that's your presentation, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I wanted to ask this question from you, from your original briefs. And page number 7. You mentioned about the 2018 value is 17,482,000 to 482,000.
Yes.
Do you aware at that time we used the unfinished allowance to make a minus reduction on that value? That's why its value is lower in that 2018.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
My question is, when you write the briefs, it's 2018 value, you mentioned about 17,482,000.
Mhm.
Do you aware about that value? We use unfinished allowance, that means minus reduction to make that value go lower, and we remove that one for 2020. I think we speak about this one
Sure.
before that. I wanted to ask.
I'm a bit confused, I know this was, that was before the Starbucks was there, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
what I wanted
Is
to
that what you're
mention.
trying to say? Yeah,
Yes,
okay, yeah.
that's
yeah.
what I
Yeah,
wanted
the
to
previous
mention.
assessment, since then, they built the Starbucks and the nail salon there. since
Okay,
then.
that because it's a 22% is before the Starbucks and
Yes.
everything coming.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what your question was?
Yes,
Yes, okay,
yes.
okay.
You
Yeah,
are
yeah,
aware
yeah,
of that,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And Mr. Chairman, I don't go through I'm not going through the questions I already asked for the previous.
That's
one.
fair. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
We
Mr.
appreciate
Chairman.
that, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Mackin, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Ms. Nisbet?
Nope.
And I don't either, so. Okay. Okay, and are we finished with clean tires now?
Yes.
Yes. We are, so we can go on then with 15 Cities, we should have you next then?
Yes.
Okay.
15 points.
When you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm handing my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. When you're ready, you can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Roll number 090077633400. Property address 1576 Regent Avenue West. Property owner Pension Fund Realty Limited. Property use code is CMRWC, which is a commercial retail warehouse. Property original built in 2000, used effective age as the 2005. Property plan area is 164,185, and the gross floor area we use the same numbers. Property 2018 value for property 26,006,000. And which is we sign as a 15-1 agreement. I'm not bringing any evidence for the 15-1 agreement here. So page number 2, my typical rent comparables. I use the other properties also. Page number 3, location and the Walmart Google view. When property originally valued, we used the $11.53 model-driven market rent, and we use the A2 high quality chain restaurant for McDonald's location, $26.75. I make a change to A2 for C4 because of that it is inside, located inside the Walmart. And I consider as it's not the standalone building. Then I change it to C4 standard restaurant rate, which is $21.19, and override to $11.30, which is we agreed last cycle for this property. So my overall blended rent today is $11.37 per square feet, and use the all model parameters. Vacancy 4%, management including expenses 2%, and shortfall 6%, cap rate 6.5%. Which is, those are the main reason for my recommendation. Main reason is the change in the Walmart rents and the rental rates, and I'm not going to go through. I have pages I include here to show the original lease was negotiated in 2000 August 24th for $8.50, and later they made the addition to the property. That's how they adjusted the per square foot rate, and I have attached page number 10, I have attached the permit information, addition to show about the addition, and it is constructed well, and also architect's letter, and the plans for the additions, and the same thing for the Unicity wall, Kenaston. I'm not going to present any of those ones again. And also page number 30, we signed the certificate of agreement here, the same property for base year 2014, roll year 2014, base year 2012 for $9.50. And also we signed the 15-1 agreement for the Unicity Walmart. It's a whole Unicity property, but it has a Unicity Walmart portion also. We use the $11.30 for the appeal cycle of whole year of 2016. It is in the page number, unfortunately my page is missing. It is the very last board order for the Unicity, 3647 Portage Avenue.
So, you just want that page?
Yeah, it is the Unicity Mall, 3647 Portage Avenue.
Okay.
And it will show Walmart rents, we use $11.50 for that Unicity. Total area, leasable area of 128,104, we use the $11.50 for Walmart. It is overall blended, including the McDonald's. Today my overall blended rent is $11.37 per square feet based on the market evidence. Also, I have attached the rent roll from the Unicity, entire Unicity Mall. So based on this evidence, I'm asking to reduce value using new square footage rate, using reduce the value to $27,918,000 on this property. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of the assessor?
Just, so, so I get this right, on page 13, you have a lease at $8.57 for the subject,
Yes.
and that does not include the addition,
Yes, not include the addition.
but on the base amount, $8.57.
Yes.
And you see, the other ones you have are assessed rates, but they're not, just for clarification, I guess you've got the board order for Portage Avenue,
Yes.
that's 2014. And that's an agreed to amount by the agent for the owner.
Pardon me?
That's the agreed to amount by the agent for the owner?
1150?
Yeah.
1150, we negotiate for 1150
Okay.
for Walmart, including, it is overall blended 1150.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Spent, you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Does this spend any questions? I don't either. So you can present your evidence?
Sure.
So this is just a Walmart store. The evidence is very similar to what we've heard before. Just a concern I have here, just on page 35 of 78. We have an overall rate of $9 a square foot, being our rental amount. And if I can just turn to page 34, This is with regards to the McDonald space. That's a licensee versus a lease fee interest. The McDonald's space and the Walmarts, they have a national contract in Canada, and it's all based, the rents are based on a percentage rent, percentage of what they sell. It's not an actual rental rate. And just a quick discussion here. A lease and a license are two separate legal concepts that offer different rights and duties. A lease is an agreement between a landlord and a tenant that gives the tenant an exclusive interest in the property. A license is permission from the owner to license to do something on the owner's property. Usually the lease requires a written or oral agreement between the two parties. And the current edition of Canadian leasing law textbook refers to a license as the granting of the permission to another party to do something which they could not otherwise do without trespass on the grantor's property. So in the case of the subject, the licensee, which is McDonald's, holds no interest in the property, but has a license to a section of the building to use as a restaurant. And so they have a national contract that they do this from. The only assessment department that breaks out Walmart as McDonald's as a separate rental entity is Winnipeg. That it's a licensing agreement. It's similar to we talk about other things like IKEA. They have their own restaurant in there. The Costco's, they have their own restaurant in there, but they're run by the store with not separate rates. But this one, they have it's a license agreement with McDonald's, so it should just be overall. And I'll refer back to the lease agreement that the assessor put in, refers to the entire area of the store, other than the addition, obviously, but the entire area of the store, not a separate lease for the McDonald's. So when they're negotiating those leases, the Walmart takes all that into account. So I'll leave that issue there. On that, and then that's, we did similar approach, did a cost approach as well. And we have a value for the subject of $21,964,000.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I have a couple. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Even though you write it's a Walmart portion, it's just for.
Yeah.
It's
The
on
entire
Walmart.
site,
Okay.
it's a standalone store, so yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And you are your 2020 asking value for this property is lower than 2018 value.
Correct. So I think I've outlined this, market has changed quite a bit since then.
Okay. Give me 1 second, please. And also you mentioned about the lease agreement, McDonald's rents should be the same. But you are aware about the City of Winnipeg charter, under the charter, we have to license all the businesses separately, use as the market rent for.
For business license, for business assessment. But
The
you-
assessment cycle.
For a business assessment, for market rent that you apply to a large format retail store, if you look at your leases that you've included in your analysis, they are for the entire store. So Walmart has taken that into account when they can afford to pay $8.41 because they know they're gonna have a McDonald's that's gonna pay some sort of licensing fee in there. So
And-
that's negotiated in their leases.
Okay, but also your page number 32, you very clearly indicated all the leasing information are private, and it's then we don't know about how much the Walmart pay for the McDonald's pay for the Walmart, or what's the percentage rents they calculated from the McDonald's to. We
No,
don't know.
we don't know what Walmart estimated they were gonna sell in that store, do we? Because they figured, in order to pay that rent, they have to figure out how much they're gonna sell in that store, whether it's gonna be worthwhile to go there. All goes into the mix of how they come up with their rent analysis, right? So if you're trying to do that, you're trying to assess the business interest. That's not the business interest, we're trying to assess the real estate. What is the real estate value?
And also your page number 35, again, $12 shortfall is a mistake, right?
Yes, right,
It
it
is
is calculated at
$6.
the $6, yes.
And that's all particular questions for this property.
Thank you, Mr. Becker, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, thanks.
Ms. Nisbet, do you have any questions?
So just to be sure that I'm clear, you're not, in your approach, you're not considering the McDonald's as a separate entity, it's all within that overall rate of Walmart
Yes.
at using a $9 blended, or a $9 overall rate.
It's a
therefore,
$9 rate for the real estate.
versus what the city assessor has used at $11.37
Yes.
blended. So you're coming up with about, based on your numbers, you're coming up with $21,964.
Yes.
Okay. And the most significant reason is because you're treating that Walmart or that McDonald's portion differently than the city assessor, from what I'm seeing. You're treating it as a
Well,
licensee within
It's
an
a-
overall.
It is a licensee, yeah.
Okay.
Overall, all the spaces that Walmart will have a number of licensees. Some of them they run themselves, some of them they're licensees. So an example, a good one that they've got a mixture of the country is the medical offices in Walmart. Sometimes there's a medical office next to the pharmacy section in Walmart. Some of those are run by Walmart, doctors are Walmart employees. Some of them are separate licensee agreements for them. But it's the overall real estate value. It is the overall real estate value
Thank you.
and rent.
Thank you.
You finished?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so basically, when Walmart makes an agreement with McDonald's, they're looking at the fact that McDonald's is gonna have a lot of traffic there and probably do pretty good business, so is McDonald's at that point. So they're paying a percentage rent, and we don't know what that is, because it's not disclosed, but there will be a percentage rent.
It's not a percentage rent, it's a percentage of sales.
Exactly, which is a percentage rent, basically, or based on the sales that they actually make in their.
It's a business value, a percentage of sales, not based on square footage or anything there. It's a national contract.
I understand.
Of a percentage, right.
And so the basis of that is, if, let's suppose the market rent for that kiosk, if it were, or that location, that store, within the store, was what the city had at $21.19 a foot. And by entering into a lease, or into a license, we don't know, they actually make, they'll maybe pay more than $21.19 a foot. We don't know what it is.
They may be paying.
We don't know.
Again, it's not tied to their square footage, right? It's tied to percentage of sales as a business entity
Okay.
providing services for there. So
Okay, so let's take a normal shopping center type of situation where they actually have an actual square footage, and they have a percentage rent over and above that if sales exceed a certain amount payable to the shopping center by the tenant. Are you saying in those instances that additional amount is a license and is not something that can be?
No, because you just said you just told me they have a lease. They have a lease in place. Lease in place creates a legal entity of a leased area. This is a licensing agreement. Similar to, you've got
go to the bay, they have a travel agent sometimes in the bay, because it's a licensing agreement.
Okay.
They have a key cutter in the bay. They have a licensing agreement there. The cosmetic
No, okay,
department
that-
of the bay is a complicated licensing agreement.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off, but okay, you basically responded. So let's suppose that then all landlords are gonna call all of their leases licenses instead.
Well, there's.
No, hang on, calling for a
Okay.
percentage of sales, and it could be whatever amount, how they want to determine it. You're gonna say that in those cases, none of that space then would go to the mix as income for NOI to determine a cap rate value of that property?
A license
Yeah.
is a
No.
separate, well, no, let me.
No, I don't actually, but you're not-
Yeah, no, let me go through your.
Let's
let me go through your
let's call this a
example.
license then.
Well, no, let's call a cat a dog.
That's what I'm saying, absolutely.
Let's call
Go
a
ahead.
cat a dog.
You can do that if it's gonna, if it's gonna put a tax payable, it might be a
It's
good
not,
idea.
it's not tax, it's not an issue of tax payable. Remember, there's a business licensing, there's a business, tax, and then McDonald's is certainly paying the business tax. The real estate tax, is tax on the real estate. And does that McDonald's have real estate value? And if you look at the lease agreements that are in place, the lease agreements, Walmart can pay, look at all of them here, it was $8.51, and if we look at the rebuttal document, they were all around the eight and change, under $9 for lease arrangements. When Walmart, very sophisticated tenant, they lease a lot of places, they build a lot of their own stores. They're negotiating a lease, they know what they can afford to pay for a lease. That's going to include a value for, they say, okay, well, we can put a McDonald's in here, we can get some money, and so we can afford to pay X number of dollars for this lease.
Yep.
So it's included, if you want to look at it that way,
Yep.
it's included in their leasing arrangements.
And I see your argument,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I see both sides,
Yeah.
and I guess we have to determine which one's correct.
Right.
Okay.
And then the other, it comes to the legal issues, it's a licensee, which is not a interest in real estate. So
Well, this is it.
there's not an interest in real estate, which is
Well,
created there.
Well, I'll give you a license to occupy that real estate and do business from it. And the way you're paying for it is instead of paying a monthly rental, you're paying a percentage of the sales you actually make from it as rent for your license as opposed to your lease.
Except the license has certain restrictions into it, that it's there for the benefit of the shoppers at Walmart. It's not there for the benefit of McDonald's, just to run a McDonald's, right?
Well, some people
So
could,
there's-
we don't know, people could go into Walmart because they want to go to McDonald's.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I would just like, I guess, we can add this rebuttal document in as well, might as well include it for this brief, for the Walmart briefs as well. Or I'll put it in as my rebuttal, because it includes all the Walmart leases in
Right.
there.
You tend to use your rebuttal for all applications we heard today?
I have the different rebuttal for Walmart.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You want to present that now?
I would present after the Taylor, 1000 Taylor.
Okay.
This rebuttal.
You've got a right to present whatever you want.
Okay, after 1000
Okay.
Taylor.
So then if that's not gonna be, can we have this one
And this is,
If I,
that's,
if I wants to be clear, some information, the release information I showed you is the same thing in here. But you can use as a two different rebuttal, or you can enter both as into the thing.
well, if you
It's
have
not a-
rebuttal, but you
yeah.
tend to, so the last rebuttal that you had,
Yeah.
you're not intending to put forward on this application?
No, I will go with the 1000 Taylor, the different rebuttal,
Okay, so you rebut on Taylor, or you intend to also rebut on
region.
Regent?
But it's a very common thing. I'm not going to.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just confused where that leaves the other Walmart leases. Are
Oh.
they considered, are they considered in for this document, or for this file or not?
She said that she intended to
Ah.
apply to
Okay,
both.
okay,
But
okay,
she
so we'll
would-
include them in both,
Okay,
okay,
if
that's
I-
fine. I just wanted the same information
Yeah.
for all of them, that's
Yeah,
where I'm
can
at.
I be little clear? The
Yeah.
Regent Avenue, I already included all the leases in the, from the Walmart. That's why I did not include all the leases in here because it's part of my main brief. You can see, yeah, part of my main brief, it has rebuttal, lease information,
Let me just cross-reference here so we talk here.
yeah.
You've got, so the Union City Mall was on page 4 of your rebuttal.
Yeah.
Okay, 1665 Kenaston is on page 5 of the rebuttal. And then,
It's the same information.
yeah, and then you
It's-
don't have 1576 Regent in here though.
I think I don't have any point to put it there, that's why I didn't put it. I can't remember exactly, but I know I put the exact same information in my main brief.
Let me see if it's here. So that's the subject, right? Oh, sorry, that's the subject, you have that in there at 825, right? Actually, you don't have that one in here. You have the addition. Oh, no, you do have that in here at 825. Okay, that's fine, yeah. Okay,
All good?
good, yeah,
Okay.
they're all there. So, yeah, I just wanted to
Thank you.
confirm that, yeah, 825. Oh, what were they again?
I will give you my
Yeah,
recommend,
825, 857, and
my board rebuttal and the recommendation.
So this is, okay, so we have enough copies so I can put that.
Yeah, 5 copies?
I need one extra in order to put one in each file.
Which one is it?
For
No, it's-
rebuttal.
Because I probably, yeah.
it's
Just
still-
this one here that I'm having.
Okay.
oh,
Can I steal yours after?
Sure. I'll make sure to mark it.
Okay. This is a recommendation.
Okay, when you're ready, you can proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Roll number 11209780554. Property address 1000 Taylor Avenue. Property owner 3346 234 Manitoba Limited. Property 2020 property value will be 41,236,000. Today I'm making a recommendation to reduce value to 40,229,000, which is smaller reduction to the value. Property value as a commercial retail warehouse, and this property in the first brief there is the 2 buildings in this property, but it is only one indicated as a one. I made a correction in later. That's why my recommendation also. 2 buildings in this property. One is a Walmart, the other one is a Scotia Bank in this location. Originally, Walmart built in 2015, and Scotia Bank built in 2017. Yeah. Then I'm moving to page number 2, and page number 2 has my typical comparables for the Walmart. Those are the retail warehouses, and page number 3 are the bank comparables. Those banks are in a similar location, and similar amenities, and all of them are standalone banks. And if I be clear for this property a little bit more, this property valuation has three components. One is the Walmart retail warehouse, the other one is the bank valuation, and the other big component is the additional land value in this property. 8,176,000 additional land value put on this property. My bank rent comparables are, you can see, vary from $32 to $49. And also I make land sale comparables in page number 4. But I'm not very much focusing on land sale comparables, because those land sales, you can see the rates vary from $13.77 to $28.73. I would like to talk a little bit about land here. You can see the picture in page number 5, the Google view, and you can see the Walmart, and the bottom picture shows the bank, the page number 5. The Walmart and the big location and the bank. And you can see the pictures in page number 6. It is the bank and the Walmart. The original valuation, we used overall rendered $13.49 for Walmart, which is, I'm not using it today, then I'm not going to talk about my original valuation. Also bank. I would like to ask to move to page number 11, because I want to talk a little bit about the land here, because it has many hydro easements and the railway easements put on this land. And I worked in this property many years. I'm very familiar with the property. And we negotiate the land rate when we do the supplemental assessment in 2017. Land rates, I'm using today as the same land rates we negotiate with the owners, because the reason why I'm using the same land rates, no change to the property as after the development of Scotiabank, it's remaining the same. The land rates we use $13.50 for the front portion, and the $3 per square feet as the back side of the Walmart portion, which is kind of lower, kind of contours in there. It is problematic land area. And page number 11 is the page when we negotiate, we make our recommendation and owner makes their recommendation for what should be the land we use. Page number 11 from the owners, this is Shindico own the property, we negotiate with them. Page number 12 is our recommendation. Then we don't have any dispute over the land rates. It is negotiated. We continue using until it gets developed for the land rates. So you can see page number 13, development plan. And 14, the Walmart permits. And 15, Walmart. And this is the architecture letter, but it shows the Walmart building, and also they gave the full permission to build to suit Walmart. Walmart spent their money to build the Walmart. They're only paying land lease on this property. They are paying $4.94 per square feet per land in this property. All the money is spent by Walmart to build the property. And also page number 14, 19, all of are the tenant improvements. And page number 21, you will see the McDonald improvements, but McDonald won't be moving there. It's the Mary Brown's will be moving. I searched the permits very recently. One location is vacant here, that's supposed to be McDonald to move in, but they are not moving. Mary Brown will be moving. And I see some information, lease information here, but because of the confidentiality, I'm not going to talk those ones, I'm not going to bring those ones. So, and also I attach the same information, I attach in the other, my rebuttal and briefs, the Walmart information, rental rate show it to. The 20 years ago, it was negotiated to $8.25, $8.57, $8.51, the 20 years ago. Those are the older leases. This is the brand new Walmart we have in the city. And I attached the information, rent information. Walmart is paying $4.81 per square feet. Sorry about, I previously I tell about $4.94, no, it's $4.81 per land Walmart is paying here. And they submit the rent roll for this property. Scotiabank, they are actually paying $44.79 per square feet, but we are not using that high rent here. I'm using model driven $37.91 for Scotiabank and use the model parameters for the bank because this is the open appeal for the entire roll. When I check the roll, I have to check everything. I check the Walmart rents, I check the bank rents, and I have to check the land rates. I checked everything because of the open appeal, and the bank rate also changed because of the revision. It increased $32 to 91 cents because I have to make an error in the buildings. And my new recommendation I use $12.87 overall blended for Walmart. If you move to my recommendation, you will see first perm is a Walmart, second one is a nail salon, third one is the hair salon, fourth one is the medical clinic. Our vacant unit will be the Mary Brown's in future, but we don't know. So all the rates as per the charter, we license the businesses there, we use the market rent, we put the market rent on these ones to license. Because of the Walmart's point of view, overall blended rents, I'm using $12.87 here, which is reasonable because of the newly built and property for $12.87 per square feet, which is reasonable. And the additional land value, as we agreed before, I'm continue using the additional land value. Bank value will be $2,846,000. Overall property value will be $40,229,000 on this property. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just a few that are going on here. Your land rate of, for 503,000 square feet on your recommendation there, you've got it. Does that correspond to, on page 12?
Page 11. Because we both did the land, what should be the land value price. Land area, we do the same exercise, but we do the time. That's what we agreed to the rates.
Okay. So that's based on, sorry, but the 503,000 square feet at 1350, does that correspond, I'm just trying to figure out which area that corresponds.
If you add
Would that include that 275,000 square feet in yellow on page 11?
if you choose see the yellow page, this page, Mr.
Yeah.
Natima. If you add this one, it will be 503.
Sorry, which three do I add? That one?
1, 2, 3. That's the
Okay.
better land than
Yeah.
this.
Then that one in the back.
That one.
Right.
That one is
Okay.
the lower land area. We use $3 per square feet. We negotiate this one for so much time.
Yeah, okay, okay. And so when did this development get started?
If I tell you the history, I can't remember the exact date, but it's a process of 5 replots. This is the 5th replat, and I have done it in 2016. But I don't know about the exact, the date they start developing and those
So,
ones. It's in my
can you-
mind.
Okay, the Canadian Tire, sorry. The Walmart store, what year was that built?
2015.
2015. And if I look at your page 12, I'm assuming the big blue box is the Walmart store?
Yes, this is will be the
What will
Grand
be?
Park Pavilion one
Yeah.
day. That, but
And-
still only we have only 2 buildings built. One is one big box. This is the Walmart. I think this one is the bank. That's all right now built.
Yeah.
One day it will be like that
Okay.
in the
So,
future.
in the future, so they haven't found, I see a big blue, another big blue box area, of about, if I turn to your page 14, it's 78, it looks like 78,000 square feet. Future development on page 14, 78,000 square feet.
76,000. Yeah, it is
It's
not.
76,000.
Yeah, it's not developed right now,
Okay.
but it's all future.
It's all future development. So they haven't found a tenant for that, or built it out, or
We don't
anything
know.
like that?
We
Well,
really
had-
don't know.
Well, we haven't seen any building permits for
I
that?
don't see it. That's why we are
Okay.
keeping the same land rates
Yeah.
still until
Yeah.
it get developed.
Okay. Okay, so there's been no, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
That's your questions?
That's my question.
Thank you. Mr. McIntyre, any questions?
I have no questions.
Is this any questions?
Questions?
And I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Oh, can I do my rebuttal?
Yeah, but, do
Oh, it's not a,
you wanna wait for,
okay, yeah,
the applicant to put his evidence in, then you have some to rebut,
yeah, sure, no.
okay? Sorry.
Okay, let's go to my brief here. Oh, sorry, I did have one other question here, I was just trying to figure out. I guess you've got this rent roll, page 1 of 1, is that where you calculated the $4 rent? Or I'm just trying to figure
Yes,
that out.
101, yeah. That's the one, that's how I calculated. 101, yeah, 101 this page.
So you've
Stamp,
got
yeah,
651,000 is the annual rental rate.
Walmart, you are talking about the, just check this day stamp, it's April 26, 2017. That's the page you are talking.
I don't know.
This one? Okay, because
I'm looking at the,
yeah. Yeah, Walmart, yeah, Walmart is paying $60,600 per month for they start 2015
Oh,
January 29 to 2035 January 28. That's how I use that both
So
numbers.
if you just run that, so you did 60,600
Times 12
times 12.
divided by building area
Oh,
of,
wait a second, I can't use the calculator, hold on, getting there. 60,600 times 12 divided by,
land area of 727,200.
sorry,
Oh, no,
700.
it's a, no, it's a
Land
building
area.
area. Yeah,
Sorry,
it's divided by building area.
which building area did you use?
Only the Walmart building area. 151, I will recalculate it again if
Yeah,
I
just
made
try.
a mistake. Times 12. 151,310. Yeah, 151310.
151310, and that gets you a value of,
$4.81 per square feet.
$4 and,
That's the land lease.
okay. Okay. And did you include a copy of that land lease information, or can you rebuttal? Or
Rebuttal?
I'm just trying to go to, you've got it as a land lease there.
No, anything I included the main brief, I don't include the rebuttal,
Yeah.
because rebuttal I mainly focus on what you submitted, nothing new.
Okay. So just, I'm just trying to see if you had a, did you have a construction cost for the Walmart in here? I was just trying to see the entire Walmart.
It is in my rebuttal, if you want to see. It is 37 million something, if you add all the numbers.
Sorry, which page is that?
My rebuttal page 16, back of the 16. Back of the 16, the rebuttal. If you go to 16, page number 16, and see the back side of the 16. I actually add these numbers, everything. I forget to bring my sticky note. It is somewhere, if you add those numbers, it will come about 37 million something. It is my memory, but I don't have an exact number to tell you.
And that would include some land values, I
No,
guess,
no,
on that?
no, it's just the construction cost only. You can go through and see it's no land value there.
Wait, who was that submitted by?
I don't know the name to tell, but the signature is there. We requested they send it to us. If you want more detail, I need to, yeah.
Okay, that's fine, thank you. Okay, just going through, I have no further questions.
Okay.
Questions there, so.
Any questions, Ms. Snyder?
No questions.
Mrs. Smith? No, either. So, present your evidence?
Just going through my brief. You can see on pages 8 and 9, just an overview of the site and the store. Again, just going to page 32, showing you overall rental, the rental valuations similar to what we did before. Rates. I'm showing an overall rate of $9 a square foot on page 35. We did a
cost analysis here. And you look at the cost, we used, for the land, we used 700 and, we used 600,000 an acre, which is slightly higher than what the assessor has on their recommended value, but just so that we're in somewhat agreement to the land rates. For the size of the Walmart store, costing out the Walmart store, cost coming to 19,600,000, basically 19,700,000 on there. The only other thing to note, I guess, about this one is this is a prime example of what's going on in the market. We've got a spot right next to the subject, which is open for lease. We don't have any leases on that or any development going on that site. It's been here from 15, probably prior to that they were in inception and development. If we look at the Walmart lease, that started in 2015, January 29th, 2015, so probably started 2014 or before that. And we still don't have another large format store going in next door to the site, showing that the market for this type of large format stores isn't there. Those are my submissions there. So I've got with regards to the other components on the assessor's recommendation there for the bank component, don't have any evidence with regards to that, or the excess land value, we're in agreement with that. Just goes down to the value for the Walmart store. We're using an overall blended rate there of the $9.
Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your page number 32. As indicated, I think you are based on these rents and go upwards on $9. That's what you did?
Yes.
Okay. Any of those buildings are new as 2015?
No.
And also, this is just a clarification question. Page number 7. 2018 value you mentioned as 27,739,000. I believe this is a typo, but you can explain to me this is the incorrect value for 2018.
I'm not aware of that. If you have the value, that's fine. That's what we looked up on the website. So.
Okay, 2018 value, we negotiated and agreed to 36,520,000. Because it's a 15-1, I'm not bringing it as a public evidence, but I can tell the number, 36,520,000. I thought about this is a typo.
Yeah, no, we pulled it off the website, so.
Okay, I will check on the website.
Yeah,
to,
yeah, could be.
If there's something wrong in the website, I will
Yeah.
make attention to
Yeah.
the IT about the wrong value.
Yeah.
And also, again, I know this, I just asked this question,
Yeah.
that page number 35, shortfall of $12 is a typo.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's correct. But it is calculated using the same interest, the $6. Yes.
Okay. And page number 44, the land value here is the assessment per acre. It's not the market evidence.
On 44, those are.
No, sorry, yes, 44, page number 44.
Right, and and that's where I cross-reference what you were using for your high-value land
for redevelopment sites at 1350 square foot, right? Which is,
But we don't use those ones as a market evidence, that's the assessment.
One would assume that our assessments that you're trying to achieve are market value, and that you would be reflecting a market value, unless you're telling me your assessments don't reflect market value?
No, but I need to follow the guidelines on the Board of Revision. We cannot use the assessment as a market evidence. That's the guideline we get from the
Yeah.
Board of Revision. What we call it, a guidelines, Board of Revision guidelines, we don't use assessment. Yeah. That's the all question for your presentation. I'm going to do my rebuttal presentation.
And you can do that after, we'll ask questions first.
Yes, this is all based on the,
That's fine.
yeah, thank you.
And I'll give you an opportunity of presenting your rebuttal
Yes.
after.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Manager, any
No
questions?
questions.
Do you have any questions? Okay, so in this instance, I have some questions. You've basically put an overall rate on the whole property at $9 a foot.
Yeah.
And you didn't take into account the other tenancies that are subleased or licensed, or what are they, do you know?
In Canada, they all have licensing agreements. I'm not sure if this medical clinic is run by Walmart, or if it's a separate license on that
And
space.
the nail salon and the hair salon,
They're all license agreements.
you know that for a fact?
Yeah.
Okay, so your same argument is prevailing, that these
Yeah.
are license agreements and should be taken into the overall rent because, okay? And you're not sure about the medical clinic then?
I'm not sure about this medical clinic, whether it's whether it's a license or if it's run by Walmart.
Okay, if you look at the city's, or the assessor's recommendation, she goes over the other properties and the evaluations the city has put on them, at 1719 a foot, 1712, 1667, and 1715. Do you know if any of those are, other than perhaps the medical, is other than a license?
I'm sorry.
Do you know if any of the other items on the assessor's recommendation, other than the medical clinic, might be a lease rather than a license?
They're, as far as I know, they're all licensed, except for I'm not sure with how the medical clinic is run. Whether it's a Walmart owned one or a separate license.
Okay, thank you. You can present your evidence? Oh, you did present your evidence. You present your rebuttal.
It's a rebuttal.
it's a
Yeah,
rebuttal.
sorry.
Yeah, we're doing rebuttal here, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This rebuttal also will be some repetitive, but I will briefly go with the repetitive ones. I don't talk much. Based on the comparables, I'm showing again the comparable rents we use, page number 32 on applicants. My page number 1, bottom page number 1. Those are the Canadian Tire lease. We see the recent lease, $12 per square feet, not $10.43. $10.43 after the tenant inducements and tenant intensives, but the actual lease rent is $12. The same with St. James, $17.50, not $14.51. The Southdale Walmart lease, originally negotiated in 1965. Those are the brief things, and also I don't put any much weight on the additional on the Walmart, because this one does not have addition, but I present my evidence on my other one. Also, there is the board orders for show. In Manitoba, we don't use the tenant inducements, tenant improvements to adjust the rental rates. And page number 13, those are the City of Charter pages showing our responsibility to license all the businesses in the city and use the market rental rates to assess the properties. Then that's why I have different permisses for the nail salon and the medical clinic and those ones. Then overall blended rents, we use it overall blended for the Walmart. And also I provided the cost letter here to rebut for the cost evidence support presented by the applicant. Even though we don't give much weight on the cost evidence, we have enough income evidence to support our income value. We don't focus on the cost. I did not write the total value here. If you add those numbers together, you will get somewhere 37 million for the cost to build in Walmart only portion. And also I have attached again the Unicity Walmart certificate of agreement to show. The Unicity Walmart, it's built in 1999, older than the new Walmart. We use $11.50 for the last cycle. And also I have attached them, those all Walmart certificate of agreements. The McDonald's Walmart. For 2012, 2012 base year, 2014 roll year, we use 950 for the McPhillips Walmart. And the Regent Avenue, also the same, 950 for 2014 roll year, 2012 base year, 950. And based on, this is the newer Walmart in here, that location. This all rebuttal for the evidence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If you have any questions on the rebuttal, you can.
Sure, just a few questions. You submitted that's assessment information on what previous cycle assessments were for those? For the
I
Walmart?
No, I don't submit any of the assessment information. Those are certificate of agreement.
Right.
Certificate of agreement.
That's what it's assessed at then, based on the agreement, correct?
Yes.
So that's not market evidence, and it's assessed by.
No, but we can bring any of the certificate of agreement as evidence as per the board rules, but we cannot bring any 15 ones.
Okay.
But we can bring the certificate of agreement. It is
Okay.
went to the municipal board. It's
Okay.
same wait for the municipal board order.
Yeah. Okay, and those were for prior cycles, correct?
This all prior cycles.
So it doesn't really show current.
No, that's the
current
base,
information.
that's the,
Okay.
where
That's
I'm
fine.
based on.
You included on page 32, your rationale, I'm assuming that's your rationale for a business, for giving a lease rate for the property assessment for what I'll call the licensees, but for the businesses in the Walmart? Is that correct?
You are mean my
On
page.
your page 32 of your rebuttal?
Okay, that means page 13. Okay, yeah. Yeah, page 32 on the
Oh,
Winnipeg
sorry.
City of Winnipeg Charter. No,
I read the bottom, it says page 32.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I include these pages to show that we have obligation to put all the businesses separately into the system. That's why I put those ones. That's why we don't use the total square footage time, $12.87 per square feet to calculate the value. We have obligation put those ones sorted out and use the market value.
Can you, under Division 1 assessment, what's it say right underneath there?
30,
It says Division 1 assessment, page 13, I guess it would be page 14.
okay,
Or the back side of page 13, I'm not sure.
okay, sure.
Says Division 1 assessment, and what's it say underneath there?
Division 1 assessment.
And it's sort of the center.
Okay, there is a business assessment.
Okay, it says business assessment, okay.
But it is,
No, it says business assessment. It's
But-
not, it doesn't say real
real property assessment.
I
doesn't-
wanted to be clarified here,
Yeah.
because City of Winnipeg charter right for the everything. Because the reason we are sorting out those ones, because we have obligation under the business assessment, we have to sort it out separately. That's why we keep those ones separately. But my presentation, we use the overall blended rates of $12.87.
Because I was just gonna read you, for all businesses to be assessed under,
That's the reason we put those ones
3162,
separately.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
but they're not, that's for a business, must be assessed for business assessment at a sum equal to the annual rental value of premises. That's for a business assessment, not a realty assessment, correct?
But we have to enter the data into the system
So-
correctly. But
so-
either or, I think this is the, you and me arguing about the wording, but it's not the, because we have to see about the big picture, not just run into the word of business assessment. Because under the charter, we are obliged to license all the businesses. That's why we
Yeah,
can
so,
sort it
but,
out.
Okay, you know what, I can, just leave it here. Your position is that only applies to business taxes, your position applies to all taxes, wealthy determined.
okay.
Yes.
And go back and forth
Just-
forever.
Okay, so just one, I guess, argumentative point on that issue is that because their system is set up that way, doesn't mean it's the correct way of doing
No.
it. It should be valued according to property value, and if they wanna blanket out or do whatever, have two separate systems for business, that's fine. But as a real estate value, it's not a real estate value, it's a business value.
Yeah,
That's
we know what your
that's my
argument is.
argumentative point.
We know what your argument is. And so we know both positions, wealthy
Okay.
determined, who we think is right. Okay?
That's your job,
Yes. But I want you to know that we understand, so you won't keep on going back and forth because
Thank you.
you're gonna change your position. Okay,
Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
thank you. So that completes the matters,
I think I'm good, thank you.
okay?
I'm completely taken.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have to make your hard decisions now.